things here right now. We want to, again, I mentioned it was our 25th anniversary, so we're going to have a little bit of a montage later. But right now, unfortunately, one of our founders recently passed this year, and we want to do a little bit of a celebration and of her memory and her contributions to IWIRC. And so what we've asked is one of her other co-founders of IWIRC is joining us today. And so I would like to call up Laureen Ryan, one of our co-founders, to help us celebrate Selinda's memory.
I will try and get through this. It's a little hard for me. Put me on an expert witness stand, I can do that, no problem. Have a technical topic on a panel, no problem. These are a little difficult. So I'll see if I could do it justice. And I was much younger back then. Compliments can come. Okay, good morning. Thank you for being here. I'm Laureen Ryan, and I had the distinct privilege of co-founding IWIRC, the International Women's Insolvency and Restructuring Confederation. Quite a mouthful. Thank you. We did it with Selinda Melnik, a bankruptcy lawyer, and Martha Fettner, who at the time was a senior commercial banker at Chase Manhattan Bank. And I actually later founded the IWIRC's New York chapter, which I'm still a member of today. Today, I'm a managing director at Alvarez & Marsal, based in New York, where I lead accounting and forensic investigations, and I testify as an expert in disputes and hold or provide services for fiduciaries in distress situations. Looking back, I consider my time with Selinda and Martha forming IWIRC to have been a pivotal time in my early career that contributed to me being a successful practitioner for the last 30 years. So a little bit about Selinda early on. Selinda was born in Fort Worth, Texas, into a Jewish family, to her father, Mitchell Mandel Melnik Goldberg, a mouthful, and her mother was Sylvia Goldberg. She graduated from Temple University in Philadelphia in 1972 with a BA in International Political Science and spent the next 2 years in New Jersey at Rutgers University, where she completed a Master of City and Region Planning. Her first career, for the first 8 years of her career, she worked as a personal program associate to philanthropist John D. Rockefeller III from the prominent Rockefeller family, as well as a consultant to the Ford Foundation, a grant-making organization originally set up by the founders of the Ford Motor Company. She also acted as a consultant to the UN and even to the White House. Later, she became a senior policy analyst at the global sexual and reproductive health NGO Planned Parenthood and worked for other nonprofits with women's interests at their core. That period of her life included her traveling to remote villages in developing countries all over the world. In the early 1980s, Selinda decided to attend New York Law School with the goal of practicing international law. She left the institution with a JD summa cum laude in 1984, and she was admitted to the New York bar a year later. It was in law school when she first noted that disparate domestic commercial laws internationally pose a significant challenge, if not a threat to the world economy. Sound domestic insolvency law and harmonized insolvency laws internationally were critical predicates to what clearly would be an increasingly globalized and interdependent world, she said. She began working on the harmonization of commercial law with international governmental and non-governmental organizations while she was at law school. And that would be quite the focus of her practice for the next 30 years. Her second career. Selinda's first experience of working at a law firm upon finishing her JD was as an associate at Milbank Tweed. She then joined LaBeouf Lamb before moving over to Decker. And then from 1993 to 1996, she worked at a litigation firm, Rogers and Wells, eventually opening up International Counsel, her own legal practice and consulting boutique in New York, which focused on cross-border insolvency. In the early 2000s, Selinda joined Buchanan Ingersoll in the Wilmington office, and then went over to Edwards Angel, and then finally became a partner at DLA Piper. While at DLA Piper, Selinda counted the cross-border bankruptcy of the multinational telecom provider Nortel Networks as one of her favorite engagements, where she represented the Canadian Creditors Committee at U.S. and Cross-Border Insolvency Council as one of the best things she's done. The Nortel case, as maybe many have been involved in, is a very large case, settled in October 2016 after years of contentious litigation on how to distribute $7.3 billion in liquidation proceeds. And I witnessed this firsthand, as I was an expert who testified in that related trial about the allocation of those proceeds. Selinda was seminal in working with UNCITRAL to develop its model law on cross-border insolvency, and then helped incorporate that model law into the U.S. Bankruptcy Code as Chapter 15. She later put together some of the very first pleadings for a non-U.S. debtor in a Chapter 15 case, and obtained the first Chapter 15 order granting recognition to an international bankruptcy process. She was one of the most internationally minded practitioners we all ever knew, long before cross-border and insolvencies were widespread. Selinda was a shining practitioner, a scholar in the field of cross-border insolvency, and above all, a wonderful person. Over time, she would advise governments and intergovernmental organizations on international insolvency and corporate rescue law, as well as the impact of law reform and the development of a strong legal and judicial infrastructure on the one hand. On the other, she would represent debtors from all over the world in every type of creditor committee and bankruptcy proceedings, out-of-court restructuring deals, and pre-bankruptcy planning. Selinda's incredible warmth and upbeat attitude are what made her so special and someone you want to have on your team. Technical, legal, and financial skills are a must-have in our profession, but it is first and foremost a people business, and that is where Selinda really stood out. Outside of Selinda's private practice, she had prominent roles in many professional organizations for the advancement of cross-border insolvency law. She was a member of the World Bank's Insolvency Task Force, as well as Insol International, and was a past chair of the International Bar Association section on insolvency restructuring and creditors' rights. She was also IBA's official representative to a host of institutions, including Columbia University Institute for Policy Directives Bankruptcy Task Force, UNCITRAL, the UN Commission on the Status of Women, the IMF, the World Bank's Global Insolvency Initiative, and was on a joint IBA World Bank project with Harvard University. Selinda was also an active member. I don't know how she had time to do all this, quite frankly. Selinda was also an active member of Global Restructuring Review's editorial board, and she cemented the relationship between GRR and IWIRC early on. But perhaps her greatest achievement on the professional organization side came with the establishment of IWIRC. Sorry, this is a little difficult for me. Selinda Melnik, a founder of IWIRC and its first chair, was a visionary. At the time, there were very few seasoned professional women in the restructuring world. In fact, many of us were the only female in the organizations we worked in with a leadership role, and we wanted to connect with other like-minded, powerful women in the industry. Selinda recruited Martha and I to help her execute that vision. At the time, Selinda was a restructuring lawyer and an active member of the International Bar Committee. And Martha and I had just recently returned to New York after a secondment, her with J.P. Morgan Chase, me with a boutique consulting firm called Con Consulting and seconded to Ferrier Hodson in Australia, where we had worked on cross-border restructuring matters out of Sydney, Australia for a year. Martha noted recently to me, back in the dark ages of the 1990s, finding another woman in restructuring was as rare as finding a pink diamond. But funny enough, there were the three of us, one from each of the key professions, that by chance realized we all knew each other: the lawyer, the accountant, and the banker. Restructuring was just becoming an international business back then, and was even more male-dominated than other areas on Wall Street. But the three of us knew there were other women in the field and decided it was time to provide a way for them to connect. At the same time, the three of us recognized that providing excellent client service was not enough. We knew we also had to build networks that would provide leadership and revenue-generating opportunities. Without a readily available platform to do so, we decided to build one through the formation of IWIRC. We saw an opportunity to build a global network where the first goal was to connect senior leaders around the globe within the restructuring profession through the umbrella organization, hence IWIRC. We represented the three disciplines, and we wanted a three-pronged focus: networking, education and mentoring, and raising the consciousness of social issues inherent in the insolvency laws in the profession related to women. The goal was to enable women to create and control their own destiny. Working together, me as the financial advisor accountant, Martha the commercial banker, and Selinda the restructuring lawyer, we set up the nonprofit to make all these connections, to promote women in the insolvency and restructuring worldwide and ensure their success. Over a very long lunch, after many glasses of wine at a restaurant in MetLife building in New York City, we tossed around names of the organization. I wish I could point to you one reason why we came up with IWIRC, but we did, and it stuck. Surprisingly, at the time, our respective firms supported us, but it still took hours and hours of our personal time to get IWIRC off the ground. It took a real vision, which Selinda provided, at what IWIRC would become. I was thinking back to the very, very long hours we all spent in the beginning to kick things off. Coming up with the name IWIRC, the first conference in London, members' dues coming in fast in different currencies into the same account, and the binders, the very preliminary 3-ring binders of everyone's profile that became a member. I still have mine in this red folder here. We did a lot on a shoestring budget, but it had a lasting impact because it was a void in the market. The first year, we focused on building awareness through events attached to established conferences that would draw those who might be interested. We stressed that IWIRC was complementary to existing organizations, not a substitute. Therefore, the main conferences were always held and continue to be held just prior to meetings of such existing organizations as the IBA, INSOL, ABI, and NCBJ, like this one. We wanted to enhance women's active participation and visibility in these organizations. Once we got the women leaders connected, our second goal was to build chapters around the globe to ensure that future leaders would be groomed on a local basis. At the time, I established and ran the New York chapter, and we helped to get other chapters started. Eventually, a new board was installed, and the organization has grown and thrived, providing women more opportunities and visibility as leaders in the profession. As word about the Confederation got out, more and more women became interested. Notwithstanding the mind-boggling and ambitious nature of the idea, Selinda's conviction, enthusiasm, and passion were contagious. Next, with 200 members from around the globe IWIRC held its first global meeting in June 1994 in London, England, just before a major meeting of the IBA's Insolvency and Restructuring and Creditors' Rights Committee. Shortly thereafter, its first network, the Central Ohio Network, was chartered, and the level of interest was overwhelming. Next, IWIRC held an event on the back of NCBGA meeting in Toronto, which many remember, in October of 1994, followed by another meeting in New Orleans in October of 1995. Personally, being a member of IWIRC afforded me the opportunity to be on the main hypothetical panel of the INSOL conference in 1997 as a result. Today, IWIRC has over 1,500 global members and around 55 networks across 13 countries, comprising many of senior women and men in the bankruptcy field, providing a robust network of contacts and an excellent resource for referrals, career guidance, practice expertise, and camaraderie. Selinda worked tirelessly to locate women in the business around the world and connect them so they could support each other professionally and personally. The Confederation and its members were blessed to have Selinda's support and foresight. What started out as a kernel of a grand idea has surpassed all of our expectations and enriched our knowledge of insolvency and restructuring, our global networks, connections, and our personal relationships. Every year since 2004, IWIRC has handed out a Melnik Award to one of its members in recognition of their exceptional contribution to the organization. Selinda inspired many to volunteer to create IWIRC's local chapters, to take leadership roles, and to serve on the Confederation's board of directors. Martha Fettner couldn't be with us here tonight. She actually lives in Australia currently and has a 10-year-old daughter. But in honor of Selinda, she did want to pay tribute. So, John, if you could play the voicemail or the recording that she sent us.
It seems that it was just yesterday that Selinda, Lorraine, and I were having drinks and discussing how unique we were. Okay, we knew other women were involved in restructuring work, but they were few and far between, and worse, we doubted they had any professional network to support them in their career. Selinda came up with the idea of IWIRC, pointing out that the three of us represented the triangle of insolvency expertise: legal, accounting, and banking. She had the original vision, as well as a drive to ensure IWIRC got off the ground. But most importantly, she had a belief that each individual deserves support and encouragement so they can succeed. That belief was reflected not only in her commitment to IWIRC, but her mentoring of younger lawyers, volunteer work with women in financial difficulty, and her focus on improving bankruptcy laws so they would not unfairly impact women, especially those raising children on their own. Selinda made the lives of many people better, including my own.
In closing, today, IWIRC is an ever-evolving organization that continues to provide leadership and business development opportunities. IWIRC was, and still is, the foremost global professional organization for women in the insolvency and restructuring field. In Selinda's memory, and to help carry on her legacy, I encourage you all to get more involved in IWIRC and look for opportunities where you can lead and engage with other like-minded professionals in the pursuit of a common goal. I still see the benefits that young women in the profession derive from being involved in IWIRC. I continue to support IWIRC through a sponsorship on the national and local chapter level at my firm, and my staff are involved in different locations. I also help IWIRC collaborate with Tina's Wish on the education around ovarian cancer. Please join me and many other IWIRC members in moving this great organization forward into the future. Selinda created an incredible legacy of connecting women worldwide, and her kindness and wonderful friendship will not be forgotten. I miss you, Selinda. IWIRC misses you, but your legacy will live on. Thank you.
On the bus or off the bus. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Pickett. I am the Vice Chair of IWIRC. I am a partner at PwC in Toronto, Canada. So another example of the diversity, our global diversity of IWIRC. Very moving tribute. I think we all can remember our initial days as IWIRC, our first meeting, our first conference, and the relationships that we've built along the way and the experiences that we had. And even the milestones and the accomplishments that we've had as an organization, personally, that we've seen in our networks. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm so thrilled to have been part of it and be part of the go forward portion of IWIRC, and then next year to take on the role of chair of this fantastic organization. So we've been talking about a lot of things that IWIRC has done, and now we want to show you some of the wonderful milestones and memories that we've had over the last 25 years. And so we have a photo montage to share with you, so sit back and enjoy and share the laughs. So as we look back on 25 years, it's amazing, as I said, what we've accomplished. And you look at the growth of the networks and the expansion of the networks globally. I think Canada was one of the earlier networks, as Lorraine spoke about. The second global conference was held in Canada in '94, so it's a long time. I don't know if some of us realize how long we've been in China, that we've been in Europe, and the accomplishments as we've grown along the way. And then the last few years, just the growth in South America. It's been pretty phenomenal. And we really feel like we're on the crest of a wave as an organization in making great strides to just expand our global reach in Europe and South America, and just building greater relationships with other organizations. I think Carrie Ann mentioned last night with the growth that we see in IWIRC, but even the positioning of the organization. We're invited to panels. IWIRC has a panel at ABI International in Paris in November, and I was saying yesterday, almost 50% of the panelists are actually women, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal is just to see that diversity and that change, but also see organizations like ABI partnering with IWIRC, supporting IWIRC, but we're seeing us, being invited to participate in INSOL, in Global Restructuring Review, and all these conferences, as it's well reflected of our position as an organization, our strength, what we bring to the insolvency and restructuring community, and what a great opportunity for women to lead, to build networks, to build relationships. And so we see that being reflected in our own board as we move forward and as our organization grows and the diversity of our board grows, to include that and reflect that cultural and geographic diversity of the organization. So it's just another, lesson in our richness of the organization. So I'd just like to take a moment now to acknowledge and just kind of demonstrate what IWIRC's done for a lot of our members over the years, and start by asking our founding members to stand. So I think that will be our founding members. So stay standing. And our warrior recipients, our Women of the Year and Restructuring recipients. I don't know if we have anybody. How about our Founder Award recipients? So if you've received the Melnik Award or the Fettner Award or the Ryan Award. Now let's see our Rising Star semifinalists and finalists. And how about past or current directors on our board? And we're seeing just a picture of what our leaders look like in this organization. How about our past and current network chairs? Those are all IWIRC leaders that have come through the organization, that's had that opportunity. And how about if you've ever attended a conference, an IWIRC conference before today? So you've been to previous IWIRC conferences. And so I would expect the last group is the group of people that this is their first, but certainly not their last IWIRC conference. Let's see you. So. Thank you. So you can see the diversity and the face of IWIRC has changed over the years, and we're thrilled with that as we look forward to the years ahead. So I hope you enjoyed the photos and the montage, and I'll take that minute to actually say we are trying to improve our social media presence and actually share those experiences throughout the organization, whether it's ideas for conferences, recognitions for what people are doing, finding a friend or a new relationship with something in common. So in order to be able to do a similar photo montage 25 years from now, please post pictures. If you don't have an Instagram account or a Facebook account, a Twitter account, LinkedIn, think about getting one. There's at least, I think, 9 or 10 organizations currently that post to Instagram. It's very easy to do, to put your photos on Instagram. And also you can see what others are doing in their organizations, and the the recognition and events that they're having. So it's a great reminder for that. So I encourage you to, and all you have to do is search for IWIRC, and then just follow it. The great thing about Instagram, and it's not that I'm a big poster, I'm a big follower. because it's great to see what people are doing, but you turn it on to get the alerts. So it's not bothering you all the time. So it's a you go to it as opposed to it coming to you. So just to keep that in mind. So with that note, as has been indicated earlier, we need to vacate this room so that they can set it up for lunch, because we're coming back here for lunch. So we will go outside and share some mimosa, but a couple of housekeeping items to start. So I think our break is about 20 to 30 minutes. Sherry? About 20 minutes. Just bear in mind our typical IWIRC roundabout for lunch. When you come back, there'll be a couple reserved seatings, but please feel free to intermingle so we can meet more friends and find more opportunities to network. And enjoy the mimosas. Thanks.
Melnik Award for Exceptional Member, the Fettner Award for Outstanding International Contribution, the Ryan Award for Outstanding Network, the Woman of the Year in Restructuring. But the Rising Star Award is different. It's a newer award for us, but it's getting to the point where it's not that new anymore. If you look on the website, we have a ton of finalists over the years, and we've been doing this since 2011. This award is not just about the exceptional young women that are recognized, not just about the finalists, the fact that they're 8 years or less into this industry, their exceptional leadership skills, their above and beyond an understanding of the IWIRC mission right into the beginning of their practice. This award is also an opportunity to recognize and welcome the mentors and the sponsors and the people, the cheerleaders behind these women who help them get here. Because I came to IWIRC because Leanne Gold said, hey, we need a Virginia network. Why don't you go ahead and start that up? Everyone needs a push, whatever that is, whoever that person is. You don't end up here just because you decided to do it one day. Everybody needs a little nudge. So this award is not just to recognize these amazing young women, but also to the people who give a nudge or say, hey, you should come to an IWIRC meeting, because we count on that. We count on everyone in this room taking it home and saying, hey, there's someone new that just joined your firm. We should bring them to an IWIRC event. So we want to take time to recognize all the supporters as well. We also, unlike the other awards, recognize all of the semifinalists, because recognizing just one young person is ultimately the goal of this, but all of these women are worthy of recognition. So instead of just one winner, we give each of these women who's worthy of recognition an opportunity, encouragement, support from the outside community. So hopefully their firms and their communities at home see them for what we see them for. This can be an incubator for successful future leaders of IWIRC as well. When we did our standing up earlier, a lot of the women who have won this award were already standing because they had other jobs. So if you look through the lists of the semifinalists from prior years, you will see just how great this initial recognition and how wonderful these women grow and show themselves as members of IWIRC. And we're proud of prior winners and all of these women today. So thanks for everyone showing up and for all that you've contributed to IWIRC. So I have the pleasure of introducing this year's, the first semifinalist that will be given an award. So the first semifinalist is Rachel Bilbo Block. She's at Aiken Gump in Dallas. So like me, she's moved a little bit in her career. I didn't move as much in my career as in my childhood, but in looking through her bio and her materials, I was super impressed with how she used IWIRC as a way to navigate moves in life, because I moved in the middle of high school, and gosh, it's hard to jump right back in with both feet, but when I start describing her accomplishments, you'll see. She started her career in Delaware in 2015. She joined IWIRC right away, got involved planning local and regional events, and in 2016, she moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and jumped right in there and began serving as the events co-chair for her network. She also served as the network's regional planning committee member. With each female that she encountered in the profession, she sung the praises of IWIRC, and she encouraged people to join not just IWIRC, but also become a restructuring professional for the greater good of this industry. She would go to law schools and talk about insolvency such that when summer associates would come to join firms, they would ask for insolvency work. I mean, how cool is that? So she has a background of doing great service in any context she finds herself in. She seems to recognize the power of small groups and small efforts and how those build and create a ripple effect bigger than that first action. She's putting herself and other women on her team and views even adversaries as a way, we're all in this together, and she has a way of getting people that are even on the other side onto her team. And part of what this award is someone who's just embodying the IWIRC mission. And Laureen gave us such a nice talk earlier, kind of reminding us of all the initial goals, and I think it's a very lovely thing to be able to say about someone. So thank you for promoting women in this industry, and I'd like to bring to the stage Rachel Bilbo-Block. You want to do this? Or you want to give your speech first, then we'll do pictures after? Okay, get out of the way.
When the amazing Aiken Gump team suggested I apply for this award, I nervously laughed. In my head, I thought, wow, they may really believe in me. Or they have no idea what a big deal this award is. I had just started working at Aiken Gump, so I assumed it was the latter. But I wanted to project confidence in my new job, so I agreed to apply. Turns out they really did believe in me and are here now to show it. Thank you, Julie, Sarah, and Joanna. I can't believe I'm standing here now, and I feel extremely lucky because the list of people responsible for me being here is quite long. But I promise to keep this short and sweet and highlight just a few people who deserve my gratitude out of the many. But these four run a common theme: people who believed in me so I could believe in myself and in turn believe in and support others. The first person whom I need to thank is my sister. Growing up, she always told me that she is the smartest and I should listen to everything that she says. But she also told me, never forget, you're the second smartest. Well, I'm definitely not second or even close, and my parents insist we're tied for first. My sister's vote of confidence in me established a foundation at an early age that I should believe in myself. By always believing in me, my sister showed me how to personally succeed while pushing others to succeed. When one person succeeds, we all do. I've taken this perspective from our basement playroom right to the office. The second person who needs my thanks is my professional mentor, my first one, Amanda Steele. In addition to introducing me to IWIRC, I credit her with teaching me how to be a bankruptcy lawyer. She took me under her wing when I knew almost nothing about bankruptcy law and had just received my worst grade in law school in bankruptcy. And she believed in me. As a senior associate with everything to lose, she protected me from the law firm bullies and promoted me in front of the partners whenever she could, both very important things for a young lawyer to see and learn how to emulate. The third person is my former boss, who I'm so lucky to call my friend, Monica Blacker. She's here. She showed me that a big-time bankruptcy lawyer can have it all while also investing in others. I was and still am in awe of her legal brain and powerful presence, but even more so of her commitment to promote and advance those around her. When I grow up, I want to be just like Monica Blacker. Finally, there's one person who's physically been with me since day one of my legal career, my husband. He's taken care of our dogs when I've worked 100 days late in a row, even though he probably worked harder than I did. He listened intently to me go on and on and on about issues that no one other than bankruptcy professionals care, and he's in the healthcare field. After a tough first year of practice, he convinced me that even though some approach the practice by being mean and feared, that's never the best way to get things done. He's been with me, as is mentioned, through four first days at new law firms. People say you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and if that's true, I must be really good because my husband, Monica, Mandy, and my sister are the best. To IWIRC, and specifically the Delaware and Fort Worth networks, thank you for providing me with a network of support, growth, and learning. I hope to pay this forward with the newest lawyers and advisors who join our profession. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Michelle Pickett again. And I am thrilled to have the honor to present Rising Star semifinalist Stephanie Clark at J. Alex in our London network. So welcome, Stephanie. Stephanie is the Treasury co-chair of the London network, and I understand was involved in the launch of the London network from the early beginnings. Her nominators told us that not only was Stephanie an instrumental member of the team that established the London network, but she also led the formation of its treasury function, setting up processes and procedures to allow the network to operate efficiently. And so when you understand the growth of the London network, you can appreciate why this was so important to them. I think in their first year, London Network did 10 to 12 events, and within a year, they were up to 100 members. So they needed to establish some back office and some functionality to actually be able to function properly as a network. So thanks, Stephanie. I'm sure the London Network appreciates your work. Her fellow board members described Stephanie as a proactive team player and conveyed that her role as Treasury co-chair, she provides robust and articulate challenges to her fellow board members on all IWIRC matters. She follows keenly the activities of all the subcommittees and supports them in their endeavors. So needless to say, she's been very involved in the leadership of that network. Her nominators have told us that outside of her Treasury role, Stephanie is continually thinking about how the London network can become better, how they can improve, and proactively looks to make those changes possible. For example, she has raised issues as to whether the London network should or could do more in respect of gender-specific topics and how it could become a truly diverse network and consider and incorporate LGBT matters. In autumn of 2018, Stephanie embarked on a master's in gender studies at UCL, and while doing so has been seconded to the Diversity, Inclusion, and Social Responsibility team at her firm, Alex Partners. Despite being exceptionally busy, Stephanie has remained committed to IWIRC, supporting her board colleagues, and also attending what they say is every IWIRC event. Her nominators have told us that Stephanie's energy, enthusiasm, and courage to lead is exceptional. Not only has she been pivotal in London Network's success to date, I can't speak today, but it's been the board's honor to work with her and her team and her fresh and fun approach. They are confident, and I am confident, that she will go from strength to strength and within the profession and within IWIRC's leadership, where she has a great deal to offer. And we look forward to seeing more of Stephanie. So please join me in congratulating Stephanie Clark as a Rising Star semifinalist for 2019.
Thanks, Michelle. I've also actually had a similar number of mimosas, so I think I might be stumbling over my words a bit too. I'm actually a little bit nervous about the speech, but I had some fantastic advice earlier from a past semi-finalist who said that just sound British and everyone's going to think that you're very intelligent. So I'm really, really hoping that that carries me through. So there are a couple of people that I'd like to thank. First of all, my firm, Alex Partners. First of all, they were very, very quick in sponsoring the London network immediately, through a lot of money at us, which I'm hugely appreciative of, and also they're very, very relaxed about me taking out time from my work commitments to do all the things for IWIRC that needs doing from a treasury function. Also for allowing me to have taken a year out last year to focus on my passion for academia and for gender studies. I'd also like to thank my fellow committee members in the London network. They're some amazing women, and it's been my absolute pleasure to give them all the money to fund their amazing ideas for events. In particular, I'd really like to thank my Treasury co-chair, Tiveni Samarawira, who, if not for her level of experience, should absolutely be the one standing here instead of me. She's not merely a rising star, she is simply just a star. I'd like to take this time to talk briefly about representation. I started my career at a small firm in the north of England where I was the only woman in my team. In fact, it took 4 years from my career to actually work directly with another woman. I'm used to being in a masculine environment. I studied physics and maths at school and then on at university, but beginning my career in restructuring was honestly the first time that I felt some sort of inferiority related to my gender. There were things like tennis tournaments, golf games, sports matches, poker tournaments, which I either wasn't invited to or I had to fight my way to get into. And with golf tournaments, that's particularly ridiculous because as a lesbian, I'm obviously fantastic at golf. These are the unspoken gendered spaces of our work. I'd say overwhelmingly, though, what affected me most was not having any senior women around me to see people who succeeded, people who looked like me. Without seeing that pathway to success for yourself, it's incredibly difficult to feel motivated and to understand what it's possible for you to achieve. This is why IWIRC is so important, to be surrounded like women, like the women in this room. I'm overwhelmingly grateful and I'm overwhelmingly hopeful for the future. And I'm incredibly hopeful that women starting their career in restructuring won't have to feel like I once did. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Leza Blanco, and Secretary to IWIRC, and it is my pleasure this afternoon to introduce another one of our Rising Star Award finalists, Alexis Leventhal. Alexis, I think, has the ability to stretch the 24 hours of the day to make them 48. From the looks of her stellar resume, I'm not sure how she stretches the hours in the day to be able to accomplish so many great things. She's currently the co-chair of Western's Pennsylvania Network. Having graduated in 2013 from the University of Florida, Levin College of Law, she started out as a law clerk to Judge Arthur Brisman, and then at the same time served as an adjunct professor of law at the University of Florida. She then moved to Pittsburgh in 2016 and served as a law clerk to Judge Carlotta Bohm. It is then that she started her work with IWIRC and almost immediately got on the board. And by 2018, she was serving as the secretary and chair-elect of the Western Pennsylvania Network. I'm told she helps coordinate nearly every event of the network. She also was instrumental in initiating its first monthly newsletter. She not only dedicates her time to IWIRC, she also finds time to be a leader in other organizations. She's a leader in the Judith K. Fitzgerald Bankruptcy Inn of Court, and she's also a leader in the bankruptcy section of the Allegheny County Bar Association. I'm telling you, I don't know how she does it. Her nominators wrote, Alexis's most valuable contribution to our network is the innovative way that she has worked to highlight the work of other women in our network. They also wrote, she is a champion for women, as well as a role model and mentor to women law students and interns. With that, I recognize Alexis Leventhal, who is the epitome of a rising star.
Thank you very much. I have a sister that looks a lot like me, and sometimes I send her in my place. That's how I am able to do so much. I want to say it's really an honor to be nominated, reading the resumes and hearing about the women who I've been nominated alongside. They're such impressive professionals, and it's a little intimidating and an honor to be included among them. I'm really grateful to be starting a career in insolvency at a time when there's already an organization in place whose sole purpose is to advance women in this work. And particularly lucky because the network is so robust in the western part of Pennsylvania. I've learned so much from my colleagues, certainly about the practice of bankruptcy law, but I think equally important about building community, about building real relationships and trust. And I was just so touched to be nominated by them, and I want to thank the members of the Western Pennsylvania Network who are here today. I'd also like to thank my sister who took time out of her busy day to come down and support me, and also my colleague at Reed Smith, Richard Tannenbaum, for taking a break. Means I get to take a break and enjoy this moment with you. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies. Again, Jennifer Kimball. I'm the finance director for IWIRC. And it's my honor today to introduce our next Rising Star semifinalist, Ms. Jo Tay. Jo is a senior associate with Allen and Gledhill in Singapore. She's traveled very far to be here, and we're very grateful that she is here with us to celebrate and to accept this award in person. She recently joined the IWIRC Singapore board and currently serves as co-chair of communications. This is a new role on the board, and Jo has stepped in and taken it on with much excitement and energy. She has worked endlessly to increase the IWIRC's profile, not only in her country, in Singapore, but also with her peers in Hong Kong, Indonesia, Japan, Spain, Brazil. You apparently are very busy with travel. She's also worked to promote the Singapore board's objective to connect more often with Singapore Network and friends. And obviously, IWIRC is known for connecting women, so certainly a very important mission of the Singapore board. She's also currently, in her spare time, working to plan IWIRC Singapore's holiday party, which is one of your biggest events of the year. Correct? Yes, she's shaking her head, so I thought it was. With respect to her professional background, she's worked on a number of high-profile debt restructuring matters in Singapore, representing both local and international clients, and various restructuring matters involving judicial management and schemes of arrangement. She was also part of a team acting for the successful appellant in a Singapore Court of Appeals seminal decision on financial disclosure requirements and third-party releases and group restructuring. In addition to her IWIRC commitments and membership and leadership roles, she's also a fellow of INSOL International and a member of III's Next Generation Leadership Program. In her spare time, I'm not sure when this is, she enjoys learning about wine and sake and is also a yoga instructor. So, we might cut up with you for a future intermezzo. In the words of her nominator said, Jo has made a significant contribution to IWIRC Singapore in a very short space of time and has become an invaluable part of IWIRC's Singapore team. She lives out IWIRC's brand, and we have no doubt that she will continue to contributing to the promotion of the expertise and successes of women in the industry. This is Jo's first IWIRC conference, so we're certain it will be a memorable one for her. Welcome, we're so glad you're here, and I hope everyone will join me in congratulating Jo Tay, one of our 2019 IWIRC semifinalists.
Hi, everyone. I want to say thank you so much for the very warm welcome I've received here. It was a long flight, but I made it. And I think it's a great vibe in the room. It's just been so warm and open. So I want to thank everyone for receiving me here. I also want to thank the Singapore board for the nomination. And I would say it was actually the Hong Kong board and just an event that IWIRC Hong Kong held in 2018 that kind of inspired me and encouraged me to join the Singapore board this year, and it's been a great adventure ever since. I just want to share a little anecdote that I think kind of reflects how IWIRC has really opened doors for a lot of people and for myself as well. Earlier this year, I just found myself in Barcelona for the III Next Gen conference and for the III conference. And on landing, I just thought to myself, I am absolutely alone here. I have no idea what I'm doing. And then on the morning of registration, I just went to pick up my tag, and Sherry was there, and Sherry was like, oh, hold on, I have an additional flag for you that you can add onto your tag, and it's the IWIRC tag. And I thought, oh, okay, here's one more flag. But that flag was a bit like a magic flag, because I walked in, I thought I knew no one, and then suddenly people started popping out of the woodwork and going, hey, you have the IWIRC flag, me too. And by in 10 minutes, I met 5 new people, and everyone was like, oh yeah, me too, I'm an IWIRC. And by the end of the day, I really felt I was no longer alone. I had so many new friends in Barcelona. And these are people that I've kept in contact with ever since. So actually, I do want to thank IWIRC as an international network for opening all these doors for me, and actually for bringing me here today, where I've made so many new friends overnight. So on that note, I think I should pay it forward. I would like to invite everyone, and I'll extend this invitation to everyone here. I think we're probably hosting the IWIRC Asia Network Conference next year. It's between us and Hong Kong. I hope it's us. And I would like to invite everyone to join us. Contact me, don't be shy, and I can promise you that the moment you land in Singapore, you will not be alone. Thank you very much.
I will second the suggestion to go to the Asia Regional Conference next year, because I went last year in Hong Kong, and it was fantastic. So highly recommend that for anybody who has the interest and ability. So I'm Carrie Ann Basler, the chair of IWIRC, and I am last, but definitely not least, because I get the profound honor of announcing our rising star for 2019, Lacey Rochester from Baker Donaldson. So a little bit about Lacey. Lacey has served on the Louisiana Network Board for several years. Since arriving in New Orleans after clerking for the bankruptcy court in Atlanta, she's been an active and dedicated member of IWIRC. For the last several years, she's helped produce the annual IWIRC on the Bayou program. This started out as a very small spa program. Maybe we'll do a little spa, maybe have a little lunch, and it has grown to be a joint program, a regional program with the Gulf Coast Network. Now over 40 women attend this every year. She has been critical to the growth of this program and all of her efforts. And in fact, IWIRC on the Bayou had a little bit of a change this past year. We had the New Orleans Network really stepped up, and Lacey in particular, when we had our leadership conference in New Orleans this past summer. Lacey was instrumental in that ability to put that conference on. She committed her time, her energy to spearhead that summit with over 90 women worldwide, and it went off without a hitch and was just fantastic. Her enthusiasm, her welcoming personality, even when it's not necessarily an IWIRC conference. I've personally been down to New Orleans a number of times, and Lacey is always, what can we do? How can we help? How can I be of help to you? She does that for everybody. It's not just for me, it's for anybody down here who would say, I'm gonna be in New Orleans. What do you think? So, her role as the events chair, she's critical to the success of that network. But in addition to her leadership roles within IWIRC in New Orleans, she's also demonstrated exceptional leadership in other areas as well. She serves on the board of the Young Lawyers Division of the Federal Bar Association's New Orleans chapter, and is also on the board of the New Orleans Pro Bono Project, and has actively served on the project's Justice for All Ball committee. Rumor has it she's already been tapped to chair that next year, which is an event that raises in excess of $150,000 for pro bono activities in the region. I have to say, one of the things that has been delightful for me is that even in talking to Lacey during this conference, she said, how can I get more involved in the international board? What can I do? How can I help? That is the epitome of Lacey Rochester, and I want, again, to welcome her as our Rising Star of 2019. Congratulations, Lacey. Ellen, I need to get your award. Be careful. Here, I'll hold it for you, I guess.
Thank you, Carrie Ann. Sure. Thank you. Wow. Such an honor to be standing up here in front of all of you and to be seated alongside these amazing women, my fellow Rising Star semifinalists, each of whom no doubt share in my commitment to IWIRC and my appreciation for IWIRC, because it has benefited my career so much. Be still, my heart. I do have a few thank yous. First and foremost, I want to thank Jan Hayden. I practiced with Jan at Baker Donaldson. As fate would have it, we met around 7 years ago in Washington, D.C. For an American College event. It was then that Jan told me about this amazing organization of women in the industry, and she suggested that I join. Even as a law student, I thought, this might be some good advice, and I took it, and I can say that that is, although I didn't realize it then, one of the best career moves that I have ever made. So Jan, thank you for your good advice, which keeps on coming, for being a friend and a mentor to me all these years. I am the bankruptcy lawyer I am today because of you. I also want to thank Cherie Nobles at Heller Draper and Laura Ashley at Jones Walker. They helped nominate me for this award. For the past several years, I've practiced alongside them, and I've had the privilege of serving with them on the New Orleans board for IWIRC. And we've put some great parties together, or I guess I should call them networking events. It makes me remember about the time we had to decide to change the name of the spa weekend to IWIRC on the Bayou so that more women could attend, because their firms would pay for an event called IWIRC on the Bayou versus spa weekend. Yes, just add IWIRC to it and it's legitimized. So as Carrie Ann alluded, we just recently threw the leadership conference, which was wonderful. I assure everyone here that attended that we had just as much fun planning that as y'all had attending it. But obviously serving on the board along with Cherie and Laura is about more than just planning events. It's about cultivating relationships with women, both in New Orleans, as well as those who come from other chapters and join us on our IWIRC on the Bayou. And again, I'm going to say, I'm following in Joe's footstep, but a invitation to all who want to attend has now been extended. But no, these relationships with women have enriched my professional development in ways that really are, I think, a testament to the power of this organization. I also want to thank my mom, who's here today. She came all the way to DC to see this, and she was the first woman in my life to really teach me the importance of working hard and being dedicated to your craft. So, Mom, I love you. Thank you. And also, finally, also to my wonderful boyfriend who is here today as well. Bevan has always been so supportive of me and will listen to me speak bankruptcy and just pretend that he is right there, understanding what I'm saying. And so thank you for always being supportive of me with all my bankruptcy things. Lastly, I want to say that I've been reflecting on what IWIRC has done for me, and it has given me a vast network of friends in this profession. Each event I attend allows me to build on the relationships with women that I developed at prior events. I mean, you really do go from not knowing anyone to knowing a room full of amazing women who are leaders in their field. And that's something that there's not enough thank yous in the world for. I do believe that an organization is only as good as its members, and IWIRC has the best of the best. All of you in this room are proof. Y'all are the evidence as to why IWIRC is so great. And I am just honored to be counted among you, and thank you all so much for this award.
Before I forget, I do want to make sure all of our rising stars, thank you all again for all of your efforts, for IWIRC, for your local networks, for the IWIRC as a whole. We really couldn't do this without you, and I expect to see all of you in leadership as the years go by. Make sure before you leave, we want a picture with all of our rising stars together, so don't leave, and I also have boxes for you. But again, thank you all for this fantastic conference. Hopefully everybody's signed up for an intermezzo this afternoon. If you're not, you can probably check outside just to see what might still be open. And I hope that we see you all, I guess it's here again, next spring. We promise you at some point we will no longer be in DC. We will go back to San Diego a year from now. So again, thank you all. Enjoy the afternoon and the intermezzos, and have a great day. Thank you.